You are struggling with lust because it is your time to ascend. Now, listen, God is very organized and strategic. If you read the Bible, if you read any ancient text, right, God, in essence, is always supposed to be something that is poured into, right? In the Bible, they tell you that you need to seek God, right? In the Bible, they tell you that you need to consistently have good habits, eating a specific diet, right? These aren't coincidences. These aren't things that are being told to us just because. These are things that will not only help us group into being a better individual, but will help us fight the spiritual warfare in the whole essence of what this is. For instance, right? If I go out into a battle and I go out into a battle with no armor and there are individuals waiting for me with guns, all type of crazy shit, right? I'm gonna lose the fight. Now, am I losing the fight because I simply wasn't strong enough? Or am I losing the fight because I just was not prepared? See, a lot of us wonder why we struggle with this battle. A lot of us wonder why we struggle so much with lust and what that even means in a deep calling. See, when you're a chosen one, right, and you know that God has called you to do something amazing on earth, you are held to that standard, right? A lot of you guys that have came into consciousness, a lot of you guys that have just came into your own sense of self-awareness have realized that there are things that you will not do anymore. Like, there may have been a lot of habits your old self had that literally disgust you now. Like, you may have been a heavy drinker, you may have been a heavy smoker, you may have been a heavy lustful individual, and you starting to see that you're peeling back the layers now. You're starting to see that you're shedding skin now, right? You're starting to catch the habits that you once had. Because the thing about it is, right, when we get down in our faith, we have to realize that our own internal clock is what will bring us back. In order for us to be servants of the Most High, we have to realize that everything that we do daily has to be consistent, and not only consistent, but persistent, right? In the Bible, when they tell you to seek God, they tell you to seek God in a manner which is fulfilling to your evolution, right? Fulfilling to your form of growth, fulfilling to your form of internalizing the spirit. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you believe in, right? All of us are souls in a body. That's it, right? This flesh, this blood, these organs, it doesn't really mean anything, right? It's just an avatar that you are in. So it doesn't really specifically matter, right, what your ideology may have been. Your belief system has to be deep rooted in growth. Your literally default mechanism has to get rewired, right? Because this is why a lot of us have been struggling with lust and don't know how to get out of that deep rabbit hole that we've dug, right? I'll speak for myself specifically, bro. It took me years to like realize what the actual problem was with lust, right? Because, for instance, right, you grow up, and where I'm from, everything that is in the 7 deadly sins is normalized. Like gambling, lust, you know what I'm saying? All of these different things are normalized where I'm from, right? It's like an everyday practice, if you will. So me growing up, my moral compass was always there, but the message and my spirit was lacking because my flesh was taking over, if that made sense, right? So whether that mean I was eating whatever I wanted to, I was drinking whatever I wanted to, I was watching whatever I wanted to, and I was a kid growing up, becoming a teenager, right? So this opened the door to me watching porn. And when I was watching porn, it was more of like, okay, this is something stimulating and something interesting and very intriguing, right? And at the same time, like, I'm a horny kid too, right? But when I came into consciousness, I had to start asking myself, why am I doing this, right? Because at this point where I'm like 14, 15, now I'm starting to have sex, right? So now I'm having sex, so now I don't feel the need to watch porn anymore because I'm having sex. So now it's becoming kind of reluctant. So just imagine, right? Just imagine you being 15, and just imagine that the idea of who you are as an individual is, okay, everything that I'm doing is okay because everyone else is doing it, right? The environment that I come from is a degenerate environment. So when I start learning more about myself, right, I start isolating myself and I start becoming the individual that I am now. It started alleviating the problem and the whole point of what I was doing, right? Like, the whole point of me watching porn became minuscule because now I'm thinking about what I'm doing now, right? See, the way that lust works is a literal breeding of the lowest vibration that you can be in, right? Like, when you're in the lowest vibration, you're susceptible to kill, you know, you're susceptible to hunt, you're susceptible to lust. You're in the animalistic aspect of your brain. Some will call this the lizard part of your brain, right? Like the amygdala or amygdala, whatever the fuck it's called, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's you being in the lizard part of your brain, right? So when I started realizing this, right, I was like, okay, not only am I operating at my lowest version of myself right now, two, not knowing that the energy that I'm holding on to, I can transmute, right? So when you start actually learning more about self and you start doing the work that it takes, you stop becoming a victim of yourself, right? Because whether it is you're having sex with somebody and it's just lust, whether if you're just watching porn, whatever you're doing, right? Every time that you partake in this activity, it's like you're putting a black cloud over yourself. This is why you see people that engage in these activities, people that are very lustful. It's like they don't have a moral compass or a soul, if you will. It's like their soul is being tainted. This is why, if you pay attention, porn is free. A lot of porn that you see online is very free, whether if it's on social media platforms or whatever. The point of it being free is your soul is not, right? Your soul comes at a cost. So the more that you continuously keep drinking is the more fatty your liver will get, right? The more that you keep smoking and keep clogging your third eye is the more that your self-awareness will be decreased, right? The more that you keep fogging up and calcifying your pineal gland with all of these different foods, with all of these different practices, right? This is the more detached you'll be from not only the universe, but just God in general, right? Because we have to know that everything is guiding us, right? The universe is literally guiding us throughout this world that we live in, right? Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ literally said it's so crazy to say this shit, bro, because on social media and on platforms, people demonize like religion and people demonize so many different things, but it's not the fact of you being a religious follower. It's the fact of you paying attention to the literature and to the knowledge that's already there. If you just simply read the Bible, right? If you just simply go through and read it like any other book, right? Like the Quran, whatever, you'll start to see that there are many truths to everything, but there are many lies to everything as well. So when you choose to start walking down a path of righteousness, it's not going to just be a one-way street, right? There are going to be things on the sidewalks that are going to try to get your attention. There are going to be distractions. There are going to be roadblocks. There are going to be things that come along this journey because you have a divine purpose, right? The whole objective of football is to not get you to the touchdown, right? So I'm putting all of these different positions in place. I'm putting all these pieces on the board to simply stop you from one simple objective: winning. That's it. So when you look at life from that perspective, right, and you ask yourself, okay, when it all falls down, do I want my children to look at me and be disgusted by my inability to control my own flesh, by my inability to control my own thoughts, by my inability to be able to transmute the energy that I was born with, right? Because you having sexual energy, right? You being able to tap into that, you being horny is not a bad thing. It's just the uncontrollable, like the uncontrolled aspect of your sexual energy is what is the problem. You constantly being overtaken by the flood of dopamine, right? Because a lot of times when you watch porn, right, alongside of you being a healthy man and alongside of you actually having healthy erections, etc., a lot of it is just your brain seeking for dopamine, right? So a lot of times ask yourself this question, like, what am I doing when I want to watch porn? Like, where am I at when I want to watch porn? What am I looking at on TV? What am I looking at on my phone? What am I being stimulated by for me to want to watch porn, right? And when you do this, right, you start to realize that things start to unfold and you start to get the answers to the questions. Because now, one, right, when you take time away from social media, you start to realize that your brain starts getting back to normal, right? You stop acting like a drug addict and you start acting like a human being, right? All right. So when you spend time in nature, when you spend time with God, when you spend time with yourself, right? Meaning isolating yourself from the crowd, isolating yourself from the world, and not in a negative way where it's like, okay, I'm never going back into society. It's you pouring into your cup, right? Once again, every day us chosen ones tend to go outside. We tend to interact with anyone or anybody. We have to know that this is taxing on us in some degree, right? This is why you see a lot of chosen ones, right? And a lot of self-aware individuals aren't in public places often. It's a rarity that you catch them at a club. It's a rarity that you catch them at some form of function. It's a rarity that you catch them at anything that is not involved in purpose. This is not a coincidence. This is by design. This is how God anchors you and keeps you grounded. This is how God anchors you and keeps you focused, right? When you're running around doing God knows what, when you're running around unhinged, when you're running around not involved in purpose, you're susceptible to succumb to any form of energy. And we know that there are energies that are at play at all times. This is why, and I'll end this shit off like this because I know this video is probably going to be very long. But the reason why chosen ones are attacked by specifically lust, right? And it's typically lust probably 85% of the time. A lot of individuals, you know, deal with like drinking problems, smoking problems. A lot of individuals deal with, you know, anxiety and depression. But majority of the time, right, especially if it's a man, you're dealing with lust. And the reason that you are dealing with lust is because this is the most potent energy that you possess. With your energy that you have been bestowed upon by the Creator, you can literally create your reality. What you see right now, the house you may be in, the job you may work, the car you may drive, everything that you are doing can be manifested in a better way. Everything that you are doing can be shifted and rearranged to better suit you. But that is an energy that has to be possessed, right? That is an energy that has to be upheld. You can't just keep dispersing this shit on the pillow sheet, dispersing this shit on the floor and spilling it into the toilet, right? Because you don't value your essence. You have to become one with your gift. You have to become one with who you are. You have to become one with your genius. We have all been blessed with a specific amount of genius, right? Whether that's been intellectual genius, whether that's physical stamina, whether that's a form of whatever it may be, right? We have been all blessed with a gift that we can use to help bring the world closer to God, bring the world closer to its natural state of being, right? Whether that be with food, whether that be with the form of scripture, whether that be with the form of exercise, whether that be with the form of communion and community. All of these different things are things that we are all using every single day to become better, right? Now, this isn't to say that you are perfect, and this isn't to say after you watch this video you will be, but this is to say that when you make the decision to choose yourself, you are inevitably choosing God. When you make the decision to step out of the limelight and not have your worldly desires be solely focused on what you can get, but what you can help. You know what I'm saying? Whose life can you change? You know what I'm saying? What element can you go in and enact some form of growth? See, the way the devil works, right, is the devil feeds on your lowest desires, right? I got a book for you guys to read. It's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, right? And in this book, I'll give you a brief summary. It basically talks about the essence of what the devil actually is. And I'll leave that with y'all because I'm not about to spoil the whole the whole context of the book. But peep game, bro. You are your greatest hero and you are your greatest enemy. And what that basically means is every day you have the choice to destroy yourself or you have the choice to create yourself. Every day we wake up, every day that we have air to breathe, every day that we have food to eat, every day that we have the ability to grow closer to who we are, this is a day that we can either build ourselves even more, whether that be physically, spiritually, mentally, financially. All of these things are a choice. But we also get the decision and we get the choice to destroy ourselves as well. So every day you wake up, you gotta decide, do I want my life to be a reflection of destruction, lust, chaos, toxicity, or do I want my life's legacy to be a reflection of righteousness? Do I want my life's legacy to be a reflection of discipline, of hard work, of consistency, right? Now, this isn't saying that you don't make a mistake. You need to make mistakes because this is how we learn, right? When you go through this book of life, your life that you are leading is your form of consistency. It is your form of ledger. Everything that you do every day is your life's being depicted on paper, right? Whether if it's you waking up and you're reading, you waking up and eating a healthy meal, you waking up and exercising, all of these things are building you. All of these things are shaping you. All of these things are helping you become better every single day, right? We only need one decision every day to become better. You can make one decision every day that will better yourself, right? And like I said, when it comes to lust, you have to realize that if you weren't being tested, you wouldn't be valuable, right? If you wouldn't be getting shaped at this current moment, you would not be someone that could be crumbled, could be chastised, right? Because if you weren't valuable, you would have no need. So realize your worth, realize your power, realize your soul, right? Look into your eyes. A lot of people, when you look into their eyes, they have no soul. Look into people's eyes when you speak to them. Don't look at the ground when you speak to men. Look at them in their eyes, right? Look at people for who they are and accept people for who they are. Accept people for their actions. Accept people for their internal world. Accept people, right? Don't try to change anybody, right? The people that are going to come around you are going to come because of you being your authentic self, right? The people that want to be in your world are going to come into your world because you are who you say you are and your actions reflect that, right? So you don't have to fit in with the world. You don't have to fit in any form of caliber. You simply being you and operating at your highest version is going to bring everything into your world. It's going to bring everything into place for you. It's going to bring everything into a form of manifestation. It is literally going to change the way you view the world. But you have to start with you. You have to start with you. In order to change anything, you have to change self, right? So look, for the new people watching this channel, if you like the video, if you like the content, if this resonated with your spirit, subscribe, right? I got my IG link, my TikTok link in the description. If you would like to get more game, if you would like to get more insight, more knowledge, those are there as well. For the people that have been stayed down, of the people that have been watching me from day one, I love you. Y'all already know how we rocking. Hey, we gonna keep uplifting consciousness. We gonna keep preaching. We gonna keep raising the frequency of the planet. And we gonna continue to keep winning, bro. Every single day. Hey, I love y'all.